Hello, hello, and welcome in to Living with Intention Live. I am April Wyatt, and I am your host for this just amazing hour we're going to share with two phenomenal women that I personally know and cherish as we're going to hear about their stories of trauma and stories of triumph, really. That's what it's all about. And for me, I really enjoy highlighting people such as Stephanie and Devora, those who have gone through challenges in life, those who know their stories of strength and able to support others, as I too have a story to tell as well. And maybe some of you do have stories, right, that maybe you've kept quiet for years, something that's underneath the surface. And not because it lacks any meaning, but maybe because of speaking them out loud, speaking your stories out loud, requires some strength, some courage even to find the words, to find a safe space even to share. So this is what we're cultivating today. We're cultivating that safe space because when we're safe, when we feel supported, especially with fellow women and men who are here to support us as well, then we can be able to relax a little bit, allow our stories to come forward, our truth. And when we do that, that affects us mentally, physically, and emotionally. It literally changes our physicality when we find our voice, when we have that strength and courage to share our stories. And that's what we're going to do here today. And what I love to talk about also before we begin and get in there, because this is what I love to do, is to share about the Bali experience that I have coming up. And actually, we're having a live call next Friday, the 20th. And we're going to be talking about why we're offering this retreat. It's just not a normal retreat. This retreat is an experience for people who love adventure, who want to be in a community of support with other people, to learn more about ourselves, to breathe a little easier. We go on a waterfall tour hike. We go to a temple that's 3000 BCE that Balinese people and people from around the world pilgrimage to be able to receive a water purification blessing from a local priest. And we float in the ocean and we explore that temple. It's just stunning. And also another reason why we're having this live is to introduce one of our other support people that is coming in from Australia. She's also a fellow BBTRS practitioner, and her name is Crystal, and she is a lovely person, of course. I would not have anybody that wasn't lovely to be able to support my community. And she's about the divine feminine energy. So she's going to be sharing about what aspects she's adding to our retreat. And then, of course, we have Tony and Tonya and Brian, my co-host there, who has been practicing and being certified in Osho meditation. That's what his specialty is, along with BBTRS, the biodynamic breath work and trauma release systems. So we're here to breathe, we're here to explore, and we're here to receive more of ourselves. And people leave shifted, changed, opened, more alive. That's what I love about this retreat. So if you're curious about it and you can see yourself in Bali, you're already halfway there. So you can scan the QR code that's in the lower right-hand corner of that PDF there, or scan the upper QR code there on the screen. That'll take you directly to my website for my services and other things. But that's what it's all about with this Bali retreat, is a community of sharing, a community to explore. And I'm all about community, which brings up the Hounds of Business with Mike Asherbranner. Some of you might scratch your head looking at this guy going, who's this guy in this camo hat? Why is April hanging out with him? Well, it's because he is very heart-centered, and the other people that he attracts, such as myself, are the same. We want to promote each other's businesses. We give each other warm leads, and we support each other. As I can see people in the chat comments going crazy here because they're also part of the Hounds, or they're follow the Hounds. So if you're curious about that, if you're finding going solo is a no-go, that's what I came up with after 4 years of full-time RVing and not having a community, a physical community. I found the Hounds, and that was through LinkedIn. So if you're curious about that, DM me or search Mike Asherbranner, Redneck Connector, Hounds of Business, and he would be more than happy to talk and connect with you. So also part of the Hounds of Business, as you can see this up here, this is the She Wins March. I know I don't have the PDF. Sorry, I'm kind of teetering here. And this is about Women's History Month. And we're bringing up amazing women, different panels. Last night we had one talking about women's health, right? And women going through menopause and all of that. And it's really understanding what's happening with the body, having a community of support to talk about that too. And then the fellow sponsors is Brand Face and Flourish Foundation, I Am Magazine, and me, Living with Intention. And of course, Kindness Worldwide with Kevin Smith. He's an amazing person. And also, I'm pointing over there, but my background's not letting me. Lachelle, she is the American Super Mom, and she is an amazing person as well. I know I keep saying amazing, but these people are amazing. And speaking of amazing, we have a celebration at the end of the month. So DM me. You can see posts on my LinkedIn and Facebook about it. If you want more information, let me know and I can send that over to you. So here we are. We're here to talk about stories, right? Women's stories, creating courage and strength. And my two guests are just two beautiful lights. And they're all about being truthful about their stories. Together, Stephanie and Deborah, they're going to bring forward powerful examples of what happens when women choose honesty, right, reflection, and courage to share their stories. And that really helps us to remind us that when one woman speaks her truth, that ripple often reaches farther than she could ever imagine. So you'll hear more about that during our discussion. So without further ado, I'm bringing these phenomenal women up to the stage. We have Deborah Collins and Stephanie Kramer. Welcome, ladies. Welcome into this amazing conversation today.
Woo! Thank you so much.
Thank you, April,
for having us.
Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. And we met through, I need to do a shout out to Sabrina. She had a book group that we met when we're writing our books together. And so that's how I met Deborah and Stephanie. And you'll hear me say Deborah or Deborah because Deborah goes by both.
It's a nickname.
It's a nickname. It's a good nickname. Yes. Yes. So I know you both, but there's a lot of people here that don't. So if you could please share a little bit about yourself and your reason why of writing your book. And I'm going to just highlight you first, Deborah, if you could share a little bit about you.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm so happy to be here and really excited. Thank you, April, for inviting me. I love the work you're doing. Women this month is, women are incredible and we are so strong. And sometimes we don't realize how strong we are. My story was very in my heart for such a long time. I wanted to write my story, but I always held back thinking, oh, maybe this person shouldn't hear it or that person should hear it. And finally, I made peace with it and just said, you know what? I'm telling my story and everyone else can have an opinion and deal with it. So my story, Men, Money, Food, is about my addiction and which was a way of medicating my trauma, my childhood trauma. And it worked for me for a very long time. And anytime I had a problem, it usually related back to one of those three things: men, money, or food. And I began to see the patterns and learn to work with them and heal them. So, yeah, that's what yeah, I'm on this journey and so grateful that I had the courage to share my story, because if I can help one person, and then I'll be happy.
Thank you so much. I just is so grateful to have you here and your journey, and it still continues, and we'll get into that as well. Devorah. Stephanie, can you please share a little about you and why you wanted to write, right?
Absolutely. So again, thank you so much for having me today. Life is funny and the ebbs and flows and where it takes us. So my book that I'm going to share a little bit about today is titled Naughty Girl. And I hate to brag, everyone, but I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life. And for me, I have truly found that giving back is incredibly healing. And that's really where my journey has taken me. I'm going to share a little bit more about my beliefs, but truly, giving is living. And I've always believed in community service and serving others. The last 3, 4, 5 years, I have found that statement to be more true and more real in my everyday life. And I'm very excited to share a little bit more about how my journey has taken me from trauma to triumph. And aside from being a published author, most recently, almost exactly 60 days ago, becoming the president and founder of a nonprofit animal rescue here in the county that I live.
Yes, and that is, as you said, giving is living, and it's so true. It's so true. As we give from our hearts, right, and without expectations, without thinking that something else needs to happen because we did it. Just giving from our hearts means so much, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It really, truly does. And there are so many ways that I have found giving back in the community can be a lot easier than what we would think. And so again, I can share, a little bit more about that here during our time together. But there are ways to help not just yourself and not just your friends and family, but also those strangers out in the community in ways that you might not even have thought of before. Whether you have the time or really resources is what we're talking about. Whether or not you believe that you have the resources, we have to dig into that and really explore where some of those beliefs are coming from, and then just learn. And that's, I think, why we're all here. I see as well so many people commenting on the chat. I love that, and people joining in. It truly is about people coming together and sharing the knowledge that they have, sharing the stories that we all have. as April and Devorah both alluded to, we all have these unique experiences, and those experiences I urge everyone to share with the world. And that's what we're doing today.
Exactly, exactly. That's what we're here to do when we share our stories. Other people are receive more of the message, more of that heart-centered, right? Being able to express. They know that they're not alone. So I'm just curious, um, from your perspective, and we'll start with Deborah, and I muted you because there was a little bit of background noise. So I'll unmute yourself when you go to speak, Deborah. So Deborah, from your perspective, what happens when a woman decides to tell the truth about her story instead of keeping it hidden? What happens?
Well,
What have
that's a
you
great
noticed yourself?
question. That's a great question, April. For myself, it was a weight off my shoulders when it was a relief that I didn't have to compartmentalize. I learned to integrate the different pieces of myself, and uh, it brought me closer to myself. When I saw other people come forward saying that I told their story, it gives us a chance to exhale and put that past behind where it belongs and live in the present. And my message is find your joy, find what lights you up, and go toward that. And like Stephanie's saying, giving, find what you're here to do. I think we all come here with a purpose, and we're meant to be working on a certain uh, projects and things that light us up. So do more of that and leave the past where it belongs, in the past.
Yeah. Although the past, that helped, forge who we are today. Don't you agree with that, Devorah? Not that we're digging it up and reliving it, but you're able to walk away, and really witness how you've evolved through it.
I feel that when we recognize things we overcame and we give ourselves credit for what we endured and then what we overcame and then what we excelled at, um, we begin to see our strength and stand strong in our soul. It just makes us
Mm.
stand a little taller, like, I endured, I'm still here, I'm rising up. That was a circumstance. That isn't my everything. That's not my entire life. That's a circumstance that happened to me, uh, but I overcame, and I'm still here. And that's what I think is the beauty, is standing, making peace and standing tall and loving ourselves
Mm.
is everything.
Oh, yes. You said something so powerful, right? Making peace, seeing how we're able to stand taller, and
Or,
learning
choose
more
joy.
about ourselves.
Choose joy.
Yes,
We
choose
have
joy.
a choice. We have a choice. So choose
Yes.
what makes you happy and know that you're worth that. You're worthy of that.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Choose joy. And I'm curious, our audience here, how are you choosing joy through challenging times? Please put something in the comments. We want to hear from you. I love interaction from the audience. If you have any questions for Devorah or Stephanie, please put those in the comments. We love that. And so, Stephanie, I'm just curious for you, um, as you listen to Devorah share, you know, from your perspective, again, what happens when a woman does decide to tell the truth about her story instead of keeping it hidden, right? What begins to shift in her?
Just as stories are powerful, I think that when we make the choice, I love that choosing every day, we have millions of choices. but I love the idea of getting up and choosing that joy. And so when we take our power back, that's a choice. And specifically for myself, when I really think about telling the truth or speaking truth, it's not just saying it, it could be writing it. And more importantly, it's living it. And our stories are incredibly powerful. So that means being able to take our power back. And power also means worth. It means taking our worth back. Whatever that past was, the past doesn't define us, but our past absolutely, I believe, does shape us into who we are. When we look at our belief systems, and I do talk about this in my book, when we explore belief systems, we are leaning into those past stories and experiences that brought us to this very present moment. And I think it's wise to go back and think about why you feel the way you feel. Why do you say some of the things that you say? Why do you believe what you believe? Do you have high self-worth or low self-worth? Or when you're waking up in the day and the day is going well, you had your coffee, for you coffee drinkers out there, or your shake, you go to the gym or you work out, you do a walk or take your animals out. You're trending in this happy, joyous day, and then something happens that rattles you to your core. What happened? What was that shift? What was that belief that had you feeling that way? What is the story? So I really do think that when we say things out loud or when we write them down, it's a release. And so regardless if we're talking about trauma from the past or we're talking about some sort of a challenge or hiccup that happens in our everyday, I think being able to share those with yourself in the mirror or share them with a friend is powerful, and it can help us move forward and decide who we want to be in that moment and in that day. Because time is a resource that we will never get back, my friends.
It is. It is. Yes. And it is all about understanding how that truth, how coming back into our power, being able to share, even when we feel a little resistance to doing that. I know, speaking with both of you as we were writing our books, and I'm still in the process. I just celebrate you both for getting yours done. And there was some like resistance, like, should I share this? Is this something that is it's so personal? And I don't know if I should share this part. So yeah, I would love to hear you both speak to that, because that's really the golden nuggets there. Don't you think, Deborah? The golden nuggets of sharing that truth, of being vulnerable and having other people hear that part of your story.
Absolutely, April. I think it's like diving off a high dive, or a not so high dive, but when we hold back and we're just uh, afraid to move forward or backward, it delays where we might go. It's like but when we take the risk and we put our truth out, it opens the channels of who we are. And um, for me, it opens so much more creativity. I've finished. I'll be releasing my workbook to my original book this year, and it was a relief that I could put that experience behind me, and it doesn't have the weight or the power to stifle me. I feel empowered. It empowered me to put my story out and let other people have their opinion of it or not. It didn't need,
Mm.
it didn't, their opinion did not affect me.
Oh, say that again.
Yeah, other people's opinions of us do not need to affect us. Those are their opinions, and they're entitled to them. by the way. I understand
You're
that
getting some snaps from Stephanie there.
everyone has their own interpretation of what happened.
Yeah.
Right? It's their story, and this is my story, and you have your story. So I'm a believer in us all being able to say our truth and that be okay.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack there. I love it.
Yeah.
Devorah, you made me think about something Tony Robbins had always talked about. And this was a while ago, and I've done a few of his trainings, but something so incredibly powerful. People are going to talk about you no matter what you do, right? Everyone has an opinion.
Yep.
Everyone is entitled to that opinion as well. And that is fine, which is why we just need to focus and, stay in our lane and make those tough, powerful decisions. I will get to one of those questions that I see in the chat regarding one of the most powerful choices for me and only me. I would love to share about that. And circling back to something else, Devorah, you had just said about the weight of things. I never want to call them burdens. I think a lot of people utilize that phrase, and our words are so important. And so rather than saying, the weight of that burden, when we're talking about challenges or past experiences, for me personally, I was born in the Navy. And so I like using a lot of nautical themed words and nautical themed symbolism. And when I think about anchors, it could be twofold. There's a lot of positive connotation associated with anchors as well. For me, I think about anchors as something that are heavy, that tend to pull us down, though. So when I'm talking about anchors, I'm thinking about releasing those anchors or releasing the weight of our stories. So going back to April, your original question about deciding to share our truth, whether it's speaking it out loud or writing it down, it's releasing these anchors that are holding us still, right? Mm-hmm. It's the things that are preventing us from being able to move forward, whether that's move forward from challenging situations, move forward and take a risk, move forward and say yes to that new career, that new relationship, or moving forward and saying no, right? Sometimes when we say no,
yes,
that is also a positive for us in life. That is also a way to move forward. So it's not in terms of positivity and weight and our background, it's not a yes or a no. It could be an and, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And Boz is here in the audience, and he's he came in a little bit on the end part, or in the middle of our conversation. So the title of your book, Stephanie, is Naughty Girl.
The title of my book is Naughty Girl, Nauti. So again, that nautical theme, and navigating my naked truth from trauma to triumph. So I really do share a lot of stories from back being in Virginia, where I was born, to the now. And before I guess pass it over to Devorah, I did want to just answer his other question.
Yes.
There. I know you're anxiously awaiting. I know it. So something that is incredibly powerful that I'm really proud of, which is why I want to share it, is a story that is in my book. I won't share all the details here because I do want you all to go out there and click on the Amazon link to purchase that book. But years ago, about 3 years ago now, I was in a wonderful 6-figure paying corporate job. Okay. And I was on the trajectory that was incredibly positive and doing leadership development and things of that nature. I found myself after a promotion working with an individual, and our relationship together was incredibly toxic, right? This was a colleague, this was a coworker. And the toxicity seeped in so deep that I had feelings of anxiety every morning I woke up and thought about going into this career that I was in love with. I was obsessed with it. It was also community focused. It also involved a lot of giving and talking about donation and being heroes and all the things that make us feel inspired, inspired, empowered, and uplifted, excuse me. And eventually, after months of complaining, after these feelings of low self-worth and these feelings that I recognized from my childhood, those anchors were coming back to me, and I knew I had to make a choice. I knew I hadn't thought and had those feelings in so long, and the fact that they were back. I was sitting at the table drinking coffee with my husband, Kyle, and he had had enough of my complaining. And he has this silent, love about him. And he stood up and just belted out how upset he was. And he was just sick and tired of hearing me complain about life and all these things. And he's like, babe, you need to make the decision. Like, stop complaining. You have the facts, make a decision and be done with it. And I went down into my office at that time, typed out my resignation letter, clicked submit, and ran away from the computer. But that is how it truly happened. I knew what I wanted to do for a while, but I had that fear and I was a little nervous to do it. But there is never going to be this right time, my friends. There is never a right time to choose who do you want to be. There's never a right time to write that book. There's never a right time to make that big decision, whether it's that yes or that no. The right time is now. Right? Yes. The right time is now to make the action. So my challenge for everybody out there listening is, if you have something that's been on your heartlands for a long time, whether it is making a career change, a relationship change, taking a risk, launching a nonprofit, people are going to talk no matter what you do. So just go out and do it anyway.
Yes, whatever makes your heart happy, and you know that you're working from that aligned state, right? Whether it's your higher power, whether it's your intuition, your heart space, whatever people want to call that, you know that you're doing it from that space. And that's where the magic happens. And I'm so excited. And we'll talk more about that, Stephanie, for sure. Yes, Deborah, I want to hear, this is the question that Baz had asked. What's your most powerful choice for you and only for you? So Stephanie alluded to something in her book. What was that big choice for you in Men, Money, and Food?
Well, I'm looking for Baz's question, so I don't see it here. So he said, what is, could you repeat
your most
that?
Powerful choice for you?
Yeah. Thank you. My story, Men, Money, Food, my journey from addiction to joy, is alludes to a life, the movies Casino, Leaving Las Vegas, and Wild. That was kind of my upbringing. And so needless to say, there were some exciting times that I discussed in the book, but the things that occurred caused me to have an eating disorder through it all. And it caused me so much pain until finally, 12 years ago, I gave up flour, sugar, and alcohol. And it changed my life. I was able to make peace with my past. I was able to find my spiritual joy and, love myself and love my body again. Having given up 80 pounds and kept it off for these last 12 years, it was a journey and I won't say struggle, because once I did put down the drug, which is flour, sugar, and alcohol, I lost the cravings, and that's everything. My head cleared up, my thinking cleared up, and could let the joy in. So I'd say that's the big decision that was made, and I'm just every day so excited to be here and working on things that bring me joy. I'm an equestrian, horseback rider, and love all things equine. And I'm a believer in while we're doing what we love, while we're in that space of being present with I'll say my horse, while I'm brushing her, talking to her, riding her, it keeps me focused, which means I'm in the present and I'm not worried about the past or thinking about the past, not regretting, and I'm not worried about the future. Just there's something about what Stephanie is saying about community service, I think, that takes our mind off of ourselves and our pain and lets us give to others. And that's where joy comes from. Being here, being now, being in the present. It's so important.
It is. It so is. And I so appreciate you, really, and the stories that you share in your book is very traumatic. Although you're able to be present when you share it and still going through the emotions of it as you are showing up today and inspiring others. So thank you, Deborah. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Happy.
Of course.
Happy.
Yes. So I'm curious, Stephanie, your book invites people to lean into the truth of their experience. And Deborah's, just as you shared, your story reflects that powerful journey of reinvention and reclaiming that joy. So for each of you, when did you realize your story was not something to hide, but something that might help someone else? Do you have any stories to share about that, how your stories are helping others?
Yeah.
Deborah, I'll let you answer first.
Go ahead.
How are you creating that ripple? What are you hearing back from your community, your audience after they read your book?
I was so surprised at the number of people that were me too, that happened to me too, and could identify with the workplace, the workplace trauma or the family trauma or the personal, the things that make us feel less than. And we aren't alone. And when we share our stories, it brings us together and gives us such support.
Exactly. Yeah. People can relate to us and understand that it's just not somebody writing a book and trying to make money. Yes, that's nice to make money, although it's more about sharing the story and changing lives, isn't it?
I think it's about letting us know we're not alone. We're on the journey together. Yeah,
exactly. Stephanie?
Yeah, I think that's a great goal. If anyone's out there thinking about writing a book, just knowing that you could become a millionaire off of that, and that would be wonderful for those of you who aspire to be that. But having another goal, I believe, is important, is that impact, and really legacy is what I'm referring to. What legacy do we want to leave? And the impact really comes from our stories. And so I love that, having the goal of being able to just share your story and see how many people it impact. And like Devorah, you said, the Me Too, I thought because other people told me, but then I finally experienced the Me Too. I don't think it's a surprise that I'm a little bit of a talker, everyone. And I tend to talk to a lot of people out there. And just in natural conversation, what I have found is that people love talking about themselves. Seriously, people love talking about themselves. So if you share a little bit, even if it's what's your favorite ice cream flavor, mine's vanilla, by the way, then somebody else says, oh, me too, mine's vanilla. Poof, you've automatically made this connection. And within that connection, there's this sense of trust and safety that builds. So then you just keep talking and you realize how many things you have in common. And eventually you start to put together the pieces of other individuals in terms of what they too have experienced. And you build these relationships and these connections. And I think the more, not I think, I know, the more that I have done that, the more I have found being able to talk about my stories, plural, and being able to share more about the hardships that I've endured and the things that I've been able to do to really maneuver my way through them. Hasn't always been graceful. I'm not saying that, but being able to come out on the other side because I've found that light. And it's not because the light was over there or over here or down there. The light was here. The light has always been inside. And so being able to pull out that light is the same thing as finding that self-worth and realizing that we all do have something to share. Yes. And your audience will resonate or will not. That's okay, right? And when you start to find your people and your tribe, you know then who you'll be surrounding yourself with. You then find alignment is the word. You start to move and live your life in alignment, and it feels different, right? It feels so different. Have you ever been put in a situation where networking, or you're talking to someone for the first time and you're either like, oh, I'm kind of jiving with them, or yeah, I'm feeling connected, or like, no, not my person. Like, yeah, we'll be acquaintances, but not, maybe not good friends. Or you found someone and you're like, yes, I know, like that is my person, right? Or same thing with foods. That's also another way to think about what we're talking about today. It is okay to shift and move in and out of alignment as long as you're paying attention to what your gut is telling you. Trust your gut, trust your experiences. And when you trust in yourself and those experiences, you start to develop the courage. So I live by my 3 C's: courage, connection, contribution. So finding that courage to share your story, again, connecting not just with the world around you, but really connecting with yourself and honing in on who you are. And then that contribution. April's mentioned it. Devorah's talked a lot about it. But contribution, how you can give back to this beautiful life that we are living.
Yes, and I want to bring it into that before we shift over to Devorah, since you're on that. This book expanded past the book, and now you have a rescue called New Chapter, right?
That is correct. Thank you for that little reminder.
Yeah, can you share a little bit about that before we shift to Devorah and what she's up to next after her book? Yes.
Yeah. So New Chapter Animal Rescue, I encourage everyone, go out there, check out my Facebook page. It's my name, Stephanie Kramer. You can find me. Check out my Instagram page, Stephanie Kramer. You can find me there. But you'll also see a lot regarding New Chapter Animal Rescue. Much of what I shared already today filters into the launch of that nonprofit. Again, giving back to the community, really fostering this sense of empowerment amongst the community members to all come together and have a voice for the voiceless. That has always been my goal. And I plan to continue being that voice for the voiceless through the nonprofit animal rescue, New Chapter Animal Rescue, and again, through my book, Naughty Girl. They really do go hand in hand together as we turn the page to a better life.
Love it. Love it. And as you're talking about that, and you can see in my background here, when I talked about our sponsors, Kindness Worldwide, right? with Kevin Smith, he also supports animal rescue. So I would love for you to connect with Kevin Smith about that. I think we talked about that in a previous conversation, Stephanie. Yeah.
We have. Yes, we did.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So, Devora, what's happening for you? This book you launched, things are happening, things are expanding. How did that help you to grow?
Oh, I just feel like I'm on fire right now. And I want to say, Stephanie, I love the work that you're doing with the animals. It's just so hard to see all those. I just want to rescue them all. They're so darling. So great job. I don't know how you separate yourself from the animals. Like I'd want to take them all home.
Well,
Don't you have a podcast that you started, Deborah? And
Yes. I have a podcast, and it is Let's Talk, Deborah Collins, and it's on Spotify. Let the conversation continue. And I'm excited about a new workshop that I created for women who can't say no, for women who do too much. And, if you're always saying yes when you are depleted and leaving yourself last, this free workshop's for you. And free to check out my website, www.deborahcollins.com.
you're already talking about websites, so I'll put that up.
Is that too soon? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Anyway, I'm excited about these things. The workshop, the podcast, I love every week. I just get to really let everyone know what's on my heart and what's inspired me that week to talk about. And so that's kind of a labor of love.
And you do so well. I love it's real and it's raw. It's just Deborah showing up and saying, this is what's happening in my life right now. Deborah, your house burnt down. Your house burnt down. And what did you do? You didn't go run and hide. You actually showed people. You were like, oh my gosh, this just happened, and you were showing us and the devastation and everything that went through. Yeah. How did that help you and help others as you shared that? That's trauma right there.
It's been 3 months. It was December 8th. And what I've learned is what my message is that was a circumstance, and I can choose how to think about it, how to react to it, but really I'm responding to it. There was the stages of disbelief and grief, thinking, I want to get that thing. Oh wait, that thing is burned. I don't have that thing anymore. And what I've come to understand and believe is that everything happens for a reason, and we can choose to look at these things as just things that happen to us, and we can take care of what we need to do and move on. And I am so full of everything I have. There's nothing I lack or that I'm missing. I have everything I need, and all is well. Those are my mantras. All that I need and all is well, because I'm healthy, I'm here, I'm able to experience, life and family and joy. And I came to see I still have so much. I just found that I had an RV on the property. I had 15 acres that I bought during COVID to get safe then. And so I don't have a home, but I have land, and I'm learning to live with less and live off the land like a lot of our ancestors did. It's kind of very grounding and enlightening. There are workarounds. I get a lot of joy from the creativity of it all. Cooking outside, washing my clothes outside, it gives new meaning to, working with the weather conditions.
Yeah, and I so appreciate you're just so humble and everything that you do. And you really do care. As I've tuned into a couple of your lives on Facebook, and people were sharing, and you were right there with them, having that sanctuary of support with
No,
other people is
thank
so
you.
important. Women need that and need to
Thank you.
be.
Well, we are strong and resilient, and we can do more than we realize. Obviously,
Mhm.
women are incredible, and I'm so grateful to be here with you two incredible women. Thank you.
Oh, you are amazing. I'm just so happy to celebrate you both, especially during March and Women's History Month, and with this campaign of She Wins March. It's just amazing to be able to highlight you both. And Stephanie, I realize that I didn't put your banner up. And as I'm going to highlight you here really quick, I just want to ask one last question, and I'll put your information up for people to connect with you. So really, anybody, especially women, listening to today, if they're carrying a part of their story that she hasn't had that space to be able to share, to speak it out loud yet, what do you want her to remember about trusting herself enough to share it? What is your suggestion for that woman?
I believe that life happens for us. And that is the entire premise of my book. And when I sat down to figure out how to even start sharing my story, it was a pen and a random sheet of paper, and I just started brain dumping. And that, again, is a simple way to release some of the emotions that might be tied to that story, some of the very, very raw emotions that might be tied to the story, the thoughts, the feelings in that moment. And so I would recommend to any woman who hasn't, well, even, man or woman, but we're talking She Wins, to sit down. And if you're not feeling courageous yet to verbalize your story, write it out first, or even write some pieces of it out first, a phrase. Take that sheet of paper and hold it up to the mirror
Oh,
and speak it to yourself in the mirror. And that will evoke maybe some other thoughts, feelings, emotions. And then you can also hear yourself saying it out loud, again, releasing some of the big, strong emotions that you have with whatever story it is that you want to share. It doesn't just have to be trauma. Again, this could be a very happy story, and you could be fearful of sharing it because you might feel that someone could think that you're bragging. I know that was a conversation that April Devora, that we had during the journey of writing our books. Is it sometimes we feel that we can't celebrate things because others might feel bad about it, right? So we're not just talking about trauma and challenges, but maybe some of those inspiring or celebratory wins that we have as well. This is She Wins. So absolutely, no matter whether it's a win or a trauma, write it down, say it out loud, and then contact a buddy. That's what we did. That was our process. And look, the process worked. Here us three are again, chatting about our books and life and the wins and the celebrations.
yes, that's what it's all about. It's about when one wins, we all win. It's not about who's better. Who Devora did this, Stephanie did that, and poor me, I'm still stuck here not writing my book. No, it's more of I'm learning from Deborah. I'm learning from Stephanie. And when you guys win, I win too. And I think as women, we really need to recognize that there's no separation. That the only thing that separates us is our thoughts, as Deborah was alluding to, right? Is staying in the present moment, being appreciative, bringing in that joy. Yes. So
There is
Deborah,
room for everyone
yes,
at the top.
There is. Deborah, what if you could speak to a woman today and give her some insights, what do you want her to remember about trusting herself, enough to share her story? What advice do you have?
I want women to know it is never too late to make adjustments and tell their story. You can choose differently and just do it. Just write the story. You can decide later what to do with it, but take the next right action to write it down. And you'll be so glad you did. You'll be so glad you did. And please reach out to me if you need any encouragement in that endeavor. I want to help women tell their story.
Yes, and you have a workbook coming out also to go accompany your book. So that's amazing too. Again, you both inspire me. And I'm so grateful to have you here to share about your stories, to empower other women, to bring forward their stories, as this is how we create ripples of strength. Yeah. So thank you both for being here. I so appreciate you. Please, anybody reach out to Stephanie Kramer and get her book, and also with Deborah Collins, Men, Money, and Food. Love it. And I so love each of you. So thank you for being here with me, for sharing your stories and inspiring others here today.
Thank you so much for having me, April.
Be well, everyone.